Hello and welcome, my friends. This is Jennifer from Mystic Star. I want to thank you guys so very much for joining me today and welcome you to Friday. Wow, what a week. I don't know about you guys, but it's been crazy this week. So today I want to explore the week of June 6th through the 12th. Now, in the middle, around Thursday-ish, depending on where you are on the world, we're going to have a solar eclipse. Like the lunar eclipse, it offers that opportunity for some amazing, growth perspectives, shifts, and of course, opportunities for growth. Now, many times because a solar eclipse happens during the day, we find it less intense. The lunar eclipse usually occurs when we're resting or we're gearing down for the night, where the lunar eclipse usually happens during the middle of our day, and if we're not being mindful, we miss it. Missing opportunities, and those slamming doors don't seem so abrupt or sudden. So we do have that this week. We have that ability to make a great little shift that is going to bring in a lot of meaning and a lot of opportunity for you. So without further ado, let's get into this week. Now, I brought in one of my favorite deck combinations. I have the Everyday Witch Oracle, and of course, pairing that with the Everyday Witch Tarot. I love this combination. I find these decks are very clear, yet a little bit more gentle. So without further ado, let's get into this. Now, I do have links below to both these fantastic decks. I love the combination. I love the artist. Her name is Elizabeth Alba. I think she's done fantastic artwork here. And I know she's got a number of decks on the way, and I can't wait. So let's look at the week ahead. What can my friends expect? Want that card? From the week of June 6th through the 12th. Can you guys imagine? Like, I can't believe we're already into June, let alone the 6th through the 12th. It's crazy in my brain. We're sneaking up ever so, carefully, I guess, on the summer solstice. Hi, Rick. Thank you. I love this one. I love I love this card. We're looking at the meditation for creativity, but I do love this deck. It adds a bit of flair and fun. This week, creativity. We just don't give ourselves enough time to be creative. I know in this deck, the creativity is displayed as someone making this amazing, powerful artwork. Now, creativity is so much more than just artwork. It is an expression of you. However you find it meaningful to express you. That is why creativity can't be just summed up in one word other than creativity, because it is an expression of you and your multifaceted, multidimensional being that you are. I work with clients and I teach students that have creativity as being a mechanic or an architect or computer programmer. Not fields that you usually say, oh, those are really creative fields. Yet they can be if the person puts that intention into it. So am I asking you to go do some decoupage? No. I'm saying this week is about expressing you on a very deep and meaningful level. Okay? It's going to be fantastic. Now, this card, of course, is not just a creativity card. Meditation for creativity. When we meditate, we're taking time for us. We're calming our breath. We're taking control of our breath. So one thing we can always control. And it's the one thing we usually don't control. So taking that time, calming our breath, taking control of it, allows us to start to lessen tensions. We start to de-gunk ourselves. And most importantly, because we are breathing deeply We're getting oxygen to the frontal cortex, of that front part of your brain. That's where all our decision and our planning is done. When we do those short, deep little breaths, we're like almost hyperventilating breaths, our breath only gets back here. That's the rudimentary brain. And yes, I am a neuroscience nerd. Love it. I actually did study neurology in university. But that rudimentary brain, that's our ego brain. It responds. Hell or high water, it responds. That's why meditation, not only do we feel better, because we're starting to use both hemispheres of our brain, and naturally we choose one. So if we are more of a creative person, we'll choose that side of the brain. Or if we're more of a linear thinker, we choose that side of the brain. But with meditation, we're firing from both aspects. That's why meditating, I know it's such a clickbait word, it's so cliche, go meditate. There is science to that. So, and I know meditation can be one of the most challenging things you could ever try and do. Go quiet your mind and breathe. It's fine. I have ADHD tendencies. I don't know if you've ever noticed how kind of, woo, let's do this, I am. But going into a quiet room and breathing is not my cup of tea. That's why I have now 4 different playlists. They're all guided, either meditations or tools that you can use to your advantage. I'm not saying go into a room, breathe, and it will come to you. No. Put intention to it. Put meaning to it. Give yourself direction. That way, you're actually using that time to your advantage and you don't feel like you're just sitting there going, I'm breathing. What next? Because usually what happens is that's when our brain's like, oh, we finally have time. You forgot to get the groceries that you really needed. You need Parmesan. You need this. What you forgot to put the laundry on. That's when your brain fills your mind with stuff that you should have probably done, but weren't paying attention. So now all my playlists, they are linked below in the description box. They are all free. They range in time. So pick one that's meaningful for you. And I do have one specifically on creativity. Okay. So creativity, big part of it, connecting in and using that frontal lobe, another big part of it. We need to make choices that are going to be meaningful and fulfilling for us. Because without that intention, without that kind of balanced, centered self, we're going to be firing from our rudimentary brain, that ego brain that keeps us swirling in the muck. We want to break those patterns. We want to break free, gain that fulfillment, gain that meaning, that passion. Because our creativity, it sits in our solar plexus and our sacral chakra, our 2nd and 3rd chakras. Well, we need to connect into that. We need to connect into that meaning and fulfillment because we've been missing that. Oh, thank you, Rick. Rick just wrote down that he recommends anyone looking for meditation assistance to go to videos like what I have. The guided meditation is really helpful. Like I said, most of us don't have that connection in or attention span. That's my biggest problem. To sit down for 15 minutes, let alone 5 minutes to focus in on that breath because we get overwhelmed. That guided piece is helpful. So let's get into this week a little bit more. What can my friends expect from the beginning of the week? I don't know about you guys, but where I am, we just are getting out of a heat wave and it's supposed to be nice and cool. It has that cool, crisp air. And I find that I thrive in that. This heat wave, not so much. I love this rendition of the 9 of Wands. Yeah. Many of us are feeling a little bit frazzled, a little bit overwhelmed. 9s talk about all that we've been through. And that's really true here. We have been through the ringer. 2020 was no cakewalk. 2021 has continued to bring us more challenge. We're still dealing with what happened in 2020. We're trying to make some sense out of what this new looks like. I knew back in 2019 that 2020 was going to be what I coined a foundational decade. It's going to be great. They did not tell me what that phrase foundational decade meant, because I think I would have packed up and moved somewhere a lot more tropical than Canada. Wow. It's been bleak, man. But we are really being able to shake free of some of this crap, this frazzledness, and really rely on the supports and the foundations that we have and are creating in our everyday. Sure, we feel like we've been through hell and high water. We've got many wounds, spiritual, emotional, and some of us physical wounds from what's been going on. But we're not backing down. We are tapping into that willpower, that inner flame, that passion, that creativity to really make this time ours. And we're starting the week off with, again, making this time ours. We need to find that fulfillment, that connection, because without it, you just feel lost and like you feel overwhelmed and burned out. We need that meaning. We need that fulfillment. With it came the 8 of Pentacles. Of course, the 8 of Pentacles, you're looking at that attention to detail. That foundation is there. That meaning is there. We need to start to pay attention and be in the present, because it's in the present that you're going to find those opportunities. You're going to have that time to connect into your creativity. No matter what it looks like, you'll have that time because you're here. You're not getting caught up in the pain of the past. You're not hyper-focusing in on the what ifs of the future. You're right here, right now. You're able to pay attention to the details, those hidden messages that are hidden in plain sight that the high vibrational beings are sending you, because they are. Hands down, every single one of us are getting messages from somebody in our support team, from a high vibrational being that comes in and out of our lives. Whatever you're working with right now, they're sending you messages. We're just not the best at seeing them because, like I said, we're not paying attention to those details. And it's in those details that we're going to get that guidance we need, that we're looking for, that's going to support us. We're also going to be able to embrace the opportunities that have always been there. But again, we haven't been able to connect in with them. Either we're not present for them because we're too caught up in the other two aspects, or we're not caring. So, really important to be in the here and now, and really important to embrace what's right in front of us, because it's going to help us feel a lot stronger and a lot less frazzled. Last week on Monday, so almost a week now, I brought out a new series. It's a mindfulness series. It's going to help you with being in that present mode. Do we always want to be in the present mode? No. We need that reflection. We need to be able to reflect in, and we also need to be able to plan forward, because always being in the present won't help us with that constant movement forward, because we'll just be right here, right now. So it is a kind of a balancing act. And it's not like the balancing scales where you have either or. It's like juggling. You've got so many balls in play. So taking that time, balancing things out, but being mindful that we're not hyper-focusing in on either poles, that we're giving ourselves some time right here and right now. And the beginning part of the week, we really do want to be in the here and now, because there are going to be messages, there are going to be some opportunities that are going to support you with that creativity, that expression of you. Let's go on to the middle of the week. And this is where we're starting to see this solar eclipse come forward. What can my friends, really? Right under the table. I asked that they try and keep it on the table, but sometimes they just get so excited. Can I reach it? There's 2 of them. Middle of the week is bringing you a lot. I need kind of like a little bit of a goalie's net or something to huck the cards into. Okay, so the one that stayed on the table, the Empress. We're looking at that growth and that fertility. And fertility means a lot more than just having children and being fertile. Fertility also connects into our creativity and our ability to grow and flourish. That abundance heavily connected into that fertility. So that opportunity, that being present, it's going to pay off, especially in the middle of the week where we're starting to see things come forward. Love this card. The Star really reinforces that need for balancing, but also not to forget our hopes and dreams. We're talking a lot about progression, evolution, moving ourselves forward. We have to be mindful that we're also taking those hopes and dreams with us, allowing them to naturally evolve, encouraging that growth, reflecting in and examining what our goals are. I know it sounds cliche and it also sounds kind of boring, but we have to be careful because a lot of times when we made those goals, we were in a different mindset and we had different parameters. We had to achieve this, and this in this time, and the box is tight and neat. Well, is that even achievable? And what happens if you don't achieve it in that way? Because a lot of times we don't. We don't achieve something by when we wanted to. And who put that timeline in? Was it you? Was it someone else? Take that time to reflect in. Because if your hopes, dreams, and forward goals aren't in line with you, where the hell are you going? Right? We need to make sure that we're taking that time to apply not only our creativity, but where it is that's going to be meaningful for us. Like, where do we need to be? What is meaningful for us right now? How does that impact those hopes and dreams? Now, in this card, it doesn't have it, but in the original card that Pamela Coleman Smith drew, there was a tree in the background and there was a bird on it. And I can never remember what Egyptian god it stands for, but I know it's the Egyptian god of creativity. So if someone knows what god that is, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I always remembered that this is a very creative card. We don't always see it. We see that usually there's like one predominant star, your wish on the star. She usually does have the energy going into the water and then into the land for that balance. She's also usually naked and balancing very awkwardly on the water. But she is also a very creative card. That creativity is going to be needed. It's going to help you really connect in to where it is you want to go and what's going to be meaningful. Because it's not always that meaningful. And the last card that decided to go across the room, the Sun. Oh, the Sun. Of course, the 19th card in the Major Arcana. This week is going to be bright, joyous, and fun. Yes, the Sun is going to have that connection in and be blocked briefly by the moon. But that at that time, we're looking at, again, still that joy, that happiness, and that fertility. We started it off with the Empress, which is a very divine, feminine, fertile card. The moon itself, that lunar energy, divine feminine. So you start to put things together. Even though the sun may be blocked for a few minutes, it's going to be blocked with that nurturing, fertile, divine feminine energy. It's only going to support us. So the middle of the week, we're looking at a lot of joy, fun, and balance. Like I said, I know a lot of times we're reflecting into those long-term goals. However, perspective is everything. No. Could this be Aphrodite here? Possibly. But it's an Egyptian god that I'm thinking of. It's not Anubis, but, well, Anubis is also a dog. But there is an Egyptian god, bird god of creativity. And it also connects into the little rivers. There's a lot of lore behind each card. But there is a creative faction to the star that kind of popped into my head. It's really unfortunate that what god I'm looking at didn't pop into my head too. So let's go into the end of the week. What can my friends expect from the end of the week? And the sun really, in any spread, any reading, when you have that amazing, pure joy, love, and happiness come in, it lightens and brightens the entire week. Oh, I laugh. You guys saw me shuffle and pull it out. The Queen of Pentacles. The everyday aspect of the Empress, where we have, again, that very fertile, that very earthy growth energy. Connects into that everyday aspect of the lunar energy I was talking about, where we're looking at that need to embrace that divine feminine for that care, that nurturing, and that growth. That loving energy will really support us in connecting in and bringing in this prosperity into our everyday. Sometimes when you have the Empress, it can be hard to bring that idea or those ideals into everyday aspect. With the reflection that we're looking at in the middle of the week, we're going to have those aha moments on how we can take that bigger energy and idea and incorporate it in. How can we embrace this fertility and growth and use it in our everyday in a meaningful way for you? Because it is a very individual path. I've worked with identical twins whose paths separated and diverged, and we forward planned for quite some time, and they arced. So yeah, it doesn't matter who you are. We all have individual journeys. We need to be able to start to reflect in for self. What is going to be meaningful for you right now? Knowing that that is a decision for you. We're social beings, so we have to always be at that point of reflection, creating, and amending. That's why we are such creative people. We're creative beings because we are impacted by so many different beings, peoples, and energy. We have to be adaptable. We need to be creative so that those solutions, that outcome, is meaningful for you. So, the end of the week, we're going to start to see those dots come in. We're going to start to be able to connect them for our own well-being. This is really a great week. And when I sat down, I was like, this is going to be fabulous. I didn't know how great it was going to be. So that's what the week is going to offer you. Let's look at the challenge. Because with any amazing opportunity, we always have that balancing or the other side of the coin. And let's be honest, even if things were given to us with open arms, we question it. Really? What strings are attached? What do I need to do next? So I think that the universe knows that there's only so much that we're open for before we start to resist even the greatest and most amazing. We need to feel like we're working at it. And really, the more we work at things, the more we are connected into them anyway. And we have that sense of accomplishment and ownership to what we're doing. The 5 of Wands. I just love in this deck how the cats are fighting as well. The witches are all over each other. There's too many witches in the kitchen. And the cats, they be fighting. So, of course, we're going to have those inner reflections, those inner battles. Our ego will not go quietly into the night. Our ego wants us in that little box. Our ego wants us to have that tight and very inflexible and very clear-cut long-term goal. Because when we don't meet it, of course, we have self-doubt, we have fear, we have heartache and pain. Our ego wants to keep us very, very closed. Not to mention, sometimes when we're looking at embracing that joy and happiness, external people start to become resentful because, well, why are things going well for you and not for me? They don't want to do that hard work, that reflection, that time for self, allowing their creativity to flow, taking that time to center and ground so that you're open to these amazing opportunities and that you're present. You're not getting caught up. That's a lot of work. It's not like back-breaking work, but it is a lot of work, time and energy on our part. And people don't like when others get something going well. There's that resentment that, oh, I have to outwit you, I have to outbeat you. You can't be doing better than I am. So there might be some resistance from others on embracing these amazing opportunities. And as an individual who tries and lifts people up, I really struggle when this comes forward in my life. So don't be caught off guard if you don't have resistance or react to it, because when people aren't excited for you, we kind of get hurt. We take offense to it. So adding in more into that pot. The 7 of Pentacles. Like I said, this week's going to be about some work that we need to do. It's not going to be like shoveling dirt or something, but there's still work to be done. Our ego is going to try and avoid us or distract us, cause us to avoid that work. Because again, that work means growth, means change, which are scary words to your ego. Your ego can't protect you if you go outside that box. At one given time, generations and generations ago, our ego had a responsibility to keep us safe. There were beasts out there that would get us. We didn't have the stability of housing. We didn't have running water. We didn't have all these amazing perks and, well, advancements. Our ego kept us safe. We've literally outgrown our ego generations ago. However, that role of safety is still ingrained in it. So when we have that resistance, check into it. I encourage people, anytime you're looking at reflection, A, you don't want to get caught up into it, and B, you don't want to burn yourself out. And C, we easily avoid, right? Because like I said, it's not exactly something we're like, woohoo, let's do this. So schedule it in. Okay, I'm going to take 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there. Give myself 15 minutes of quiet with a pen and paper. Try and avoid technology. We're still in Mercury retrograde. And again, our ego has the ability to sabotage computers. Really hard to sabotage that pen and paper because it's there. So if you take that time, I encourage people to invest in a spiritual binder. Sounds really grand. It's a binder with paper. Ooh. Go old school. Maybe some dividers. Like really, we're talking like stationary nerd here. You can make it as beautiful as you want, but it gives you a very large book, which is hard to lose, easy to use, and you can add in whatever you want. That's why I encourage the binder, not the little books that people are like, oh, just have your spiritual journal. Journals are easy to lose, and it's kind of hard to, you almost have to decoupage stuff in. Binders, you don't. Set that time. Give yourself little bits of time. 15 minutes is too much? 5 minutes. The more you're able to train yourself to reflect in, the more you're going to use that as a tool of support. Think of it as adding in, sit-ups into your day. The first time you could barely do one and your tummy screams at you. The next day it's a little bit easier because you can get 2 done. And your tummy's like, oh, hey, there are muscles there. Same idea. It's a skill. We need to start to use it. We need to start to be more critical thinkers than that drone of head down, go, rinse and repeat, ask no questions. We did that. We've been there. We've got that stamp on our timelines. We don't need that now. We need to ask those questions and be open to the answers that we're going to receive, because we'll get some really amazing answers should we ask those questions. All right, let's go on to some blessings. That said, a lot of what we're looking at is self-resistance and self-doubt. And that is overcomable, especially if we do some meditation to get that groundwork done. What blessings can my friends embrace for the week of June 6th through the 12th? I don't know. I think this week you're going to find that Gemini energy is going to come into play because we do have that resistance and self-doubt. Castor and Pollux is really going to be pulling, right? Anytime we have that yin-yang, that yo-yo effect, especially during Gemini, I feel that the Gemini energy, you're going to start to feel it give you a little bit of push and pull. Slow it down. Just like if you had twins yourself, they'll try and pull you in different directions. Is one better than the other? No, different perspectives. Slow things down, go back to that foundation so that you can start to, okay, we'll go here, then we'll go here. Controlling you and your breath really gives you that opportunity to make some high vibrational choices for you. Too many cards. Prayers and wishes. I love this card. So prayer I know has a lot of negative connotation due to the spiritual abuse. I'm not even going to touch into the Catholicism, the Christianity, Bible crap. Prayer is not only a proponent of those two aspects. And yes, you can have spiritual abuse across the board. Absolutely. However, prayer is something that you can use to your advantage. Asking for the help you need to that greater being, the greater energy, the creator, the God, goddess, whatever you want to label it as. That universal energy, that bigger picture. Asking for the help you need. And then it's great because the high vibrational beings then get orders. Think of it as a chain of command. This person needs this help. Go. That's why I said we have those messages hidden in plain sight. High vibrational beings that are there for you. You just need to be present for them. So asking for those hopes, asking for those dreams, putting things out there so that you can start to manifest different aspects that will support you on your journey. It's part of those wishes. We all have the ability to manifest. The problem is we don't trust ourselves enough to make it happen. We're like, oh, I need this. We put it out there like, yeah, I'm going to manifest on a new car. When it doesn't happen the next day, we start to doubt ourselves. We doubt that manifestation, which takes it even longer to get to you. And sometimes we're offered a situation where it may be a new car to us, but it's not a brand new car. It may not be that posh sports car. Do we need that posh sports car? The universe supports us with tools and things that are going to help us. So, perspective is also important in that too. And yes, you can manifest in hours. It's about putting it out there and then believing in you and what you're putting out there and being open to the support. Okay? So, hopes and dreams, those wishes, that manifestation, really important. Love it. Water magic. Like anything else, when we're dealing with resistance, we're dealing with that growth, with that development, we can start to feel heavy. When we're looking at pushing ourselves and evolving, well, we only have so much. Think of it as a cup within you. Well, if you don't start to really take out that heavy, gunky buildup, that sediment at the bottom of your cup, well, it's going to overflow because you keep adding to it. And well, what happens? It overflows. There's only so much room we have. That's why it's important that we continue to move forward. Part of our forward movement is healing, is releasing. When things aren't serving us, they're not helpful, they're not part of that master plan, well, we need to let go of it, get rid of it. When we do that release, that gives us that opportunity to, well, grow, to develop. Our cup has more room for it. One of the ways that we can release, really easy release too, because again, we get caught up in, oh crap, I have more things I got to do, is through water. Anytime I have somebody who has anxiety or who works in that kind of anxious modality, and for those who don't know, I'm actually a counselor. At one point in time, I was a one-to-one counselor. And my life journey took me in a very different, I spiraled a bit, and I've restabilized in the last 5 years and realized I can do more work in a more meaningful way this way than I ever did before. But I have, that's why I have the neurology or the neurology and the psychology terms, because I used to use them. But anytime we're dealing with that anxious energy, you see people who will fiddle. Go wash your hands. Run them under cold water. I find cold water works better than warm, but run it under water. Feel that water rinse away the heaviness, the anxiety. Give yourself permission to release it with that water. Anxious moment starts to dissolve away. That really busy energy starts to get dissolved away and pulled away. It sums up what water, that cleansing element, can do, can help you release. And we can even add on that. We can step it up a notch. Putting intention into something as simple as bathing. Whether you take a bath or a shower. We do it regularly. So why not add intention? I'm going to take this shower. And yes, you can use a warm or hot shower. It does not matter temperature-wise. But take that shower. Set those intentions. I'm going to cleanse myself, body, mind, and soul. I'm going to release what isn't working. The water is going to take it away from me. So I feel lighter. I feel stronger. I feel empowered. So using water to our advantage. And if you've had a heavy day where you're feeling sticky and gross, why fight it? Hop through a shower, 5 minutes. Whoosh, done. Or if you're a bubble bath person, splish into that bubble bath. Same thing. Feel that water just pull and draw that gunkiness away. It will help with that resistance, and it'll help really revitalize you, giving you more space for what's going to be helpful and fulfilling. Love this card. I love a lot of them. You'll hear me say that a lot. Follow your dreams. I said way back here with the star, we need to make sure that our dreams, our hopes, they are in tune and in line with our new self. Yes, I'm a big proponent of that slow, steady progression because it's stable. You're not jumping around and getting clawed back and causing heartache and pain. You have that stable growth, that stable movement forward. We can make sure that as we evolve, so do those hopes and dreams. That reflection is so necessary, especially as we're finding out how dynamic and creative we are. Well, we can start to bring that into our everyday, to bring in that dynamic and fun self, nurture it, rather than that fear, that anger and pain that we have within us. And we all have it because we've been carrying it for lifetimes. That pain, fear, that heaviness, that's what we need to start to release. And it takes a while because we get to one point, we release, we feel, I feel great. And then you realize, oh, there's another layer of that crap. Okay, I'm going to start to tear that away next. Also, as we do this, because our ego has tried to keep us safe, right? That safety mechanism, we feel exposed. So if we're taking it slow, we become more acclimatized to ourselves, that authentic self. And we can clear out a little bit more. You see people who make these life-altering, changing ideals or attitudes, and then all of a sudden these changes aren't sustainable because they feel vulnerable and they feel afraid. And they close back up, causing more heartache and fear to do what we naturally need to do. So take it slow, and most importantly, enjoy this. We have the sun. It may feel like a lot of work, but perspective is everything, right? How can you make things more dynamic? How can you make things more fun and meaningful for you? Because you're the only one who can do it. I can tell you what's going forward, like what you need to do to go forward, but if you don't take that insight, that knowledge, and actually utilize it in your everyday, it's not going to help you at all. We need to pay movement, small, steady steps forward on knowledge, on insight, on that guidance. And that's going to help us. It's going to help, connect those dots, be able to embrace opportunities, manifest what we want, gain the insight that we need. So, taking it one step at a time and keeping things in perspective for you, balancing out your world. Like I said, try and take it in small little denominations. Give yourself 5-10 minutes here, 5-10 minutes there. It does add up. So, what further insight, wisdom, and guidance can I share with my friends for the week of June 6th through the 12th? I'm kind of liking how the sun is almost the center of the reading. It's at that center focal point. So we need to keep that light and love very much in our forefront and in the center of what we're doing. Two of Swords, that direction forward. Using our head, not our heart, because our heart center, yes, we need to be able to express self. However, if it's guiding us, where is it going to guide us? Right back to where we are, because our ego drives our heart. It's kind of takes control of it. It can't control that frontal lobe, though. The Three of Wands. Of course, when you have decisions and that guidance From the 2, we go to the 3. And that 3 is that movement forward. We need to move things forward because without that first step, second step, third step, why do we even want to make decisions? Why do we need to use that knowledge? Why are we here? What is going to be meaningful for you? And that's what we need to start to work on. Bring that into our everyday. Now we do have multiple 3s. We have the Empress and the 3 of Wands. In angel messages, when you have that multiple 3, the angels are telling you something close to your heart needs to be expressed, which brings us right back to where we started. That self-expression, that self-knowledge. It's really what this week is driving you. We need to use that self-knowledge and understanding to propel ourselves forward, to bring in that meaning and that fulfillment. The Fool. I know, nobody's like, yay, the Fool. I am, because it's about that enthusiasm, that no fear, that excitement, that anticipation for that next step, no matter what it looks like. Trusting in you, trusting in the universe. The universe has got your back. I know sometimes we don't feel like it because 2020, that sums it up, right? It feels like we're kind of in this swirling vortex. The universe is shaking us up, getting us ready for what's to come. And it's amazing because we know that in 2032-ish, the date keeps moving and fluctuating, as it will until we get to that very clear point of, yeah, it's there. Because we still have 8-9 more years until we're looking at an energetical shift. Back in 2012, we had one, and they told us that in about 30 years, we're going to be looking at another one. They were off. It was 2032. It's 20 years, but that's okay. We know that there's going to be an energetical shift upwards, and we need to be prepared for that. And that's exactly what we're looking at. Without what happened in 2020 occurring, we wouldn't have been to this point. The 5 of Cups. Reminding us that we have a tendency to focus in on the couldas, shouldas, and wouldas, not on what's truly important. We're missing out. We're missing that important message, that guidance, those messages hidden in plain sight. Similar to what I just said, the 3s, double 3s, double 5s. In angel messages, unlike tarot, where tarot says 5s are a challenge, the angels tell you that something amazing is coming your way and that you need to stay true to your course, which is true. You stay true to the course, and you're going to gain that perspective, that understanding, and of course, that connection, that meaning, that prosperity, and joy. There's a lot going on in the next week. Take that time for you. And we don't need to be egotistical about it. It doesn't have to be grand, mass amount of times. A little bit of time here and there will go a long way in supporting you and embracing these opportunities, helping you with that growth, helping you with that abundance, because we're at the heart of all that we have. Our willpower, our creativity, and our drive forward really will support us in that growth, in that development that we're looking for. So I will open things up. So if you have some questions, please ask them now. I've got a little bit of time for a little bit of open questioning, I guess, if you have questions. If not, I'm going to be back on Friday, next Friday, doing the next week's reading. And if you guys haven't tried out that new mindfulness meditation, well, it's not really a mindful meditation. It's more of a tool. I really highly recommend it. It's fantastic. It's about 30 minutes. This week, I'm hoping to bring out short and sweet grounding meditation. So it'll be about 5 minutes long, 5 to 10, helping you to ground yourself quickly so you can overcome any challenges that you're going to face in a quick and, well, relatively easy way. All right, I don't see anybody with questions. So if you are in the midst of typing something, you can just email it to me and I will answer it for you. And if not, I'm going to see you guys next week in my next live session. Like I said, I will be posting another meditation this week. And I want to thank you guys so much for joining me. I love it when I have people live asking questions and joining in on the reading. It really is a lot of fun. So until tomorrow, my friends.